You want to find out how much steroids cost. Hello and shit, Ed here, answering the questions that you want to know. I'm all hyped up because I'm going to Mexico next week, but that's besides the point. I'm going to go party hard there. I got to get all shredded though and cut up this week, so I'm going to diet down for that. But today's video topic, before we get into it, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. Share this shit with your friends because they need to know this information too. Help me quit my day job. But yeah, let's get into it. You want to find out how much steroids cost. That's the thing everybody wants to know. Usually one of the first 2 or 3 questions that you get when somebody finds out you did steroids. Well, how much is it? What do you get it? How do you get it? How much does it cost? So we're not talking sources today. As always, this is never medical advice. None of that shenanigans. We're just talking about what the average price of steroids are, in case you're wondering. I'm going to go through the list of some popular ones. We're not going to hit all of them, but I'll give you a good little comprehensive overview of what you can expect to pay. So typically for injectable steroids, they're going to come in a 10 milliliter vial. It's going to be a little tiny bottle about like that big. It's not very big. But the prices are they're gonna depend on what you get. So let's start off with the king of them all, testosterone. So for a bottle of testosterone, a 10 milliliter vial, whether it's test enanthate, cypionate, sustanon, usually those 3 are around the same concentration. You'll find them around 200 to 300 milligrams per milliliter. You can expect to pay about $35 to $40 for one bottle of test, which isn't too bad because say you're trying a steroid cycle, you want to run 500 milligrams a week of testosterone for, let's say, 10 weeks. Well, if you get your testosterone and then they'd say dosed at 250 milligrams per milliliter, that means you're going to use 2 milliliters per week to get you to 500. So you're going to use 1 bottle in 5 weeks. You would need 2 bottles for your cycle. So about 70 to 80 bucks. Not too bad. It gets more expensive because you got to add on all the ancillaries and PCT and all the other supplements you're taking and all the add-on if you want to add more steroids to your list. But yeah, test propionate. That one you can get a little cheaper, probably $20 to $25 per bottle since it's typically dosed lower, around 100 milligrams per milliliter versus, 200 to 300 with test E-Sip and Sustanon. Deca is going to be about the same. Your nandrolone decanoate, about $35 to $40 per bottle. Again, you're going to see that dosed around 200 to 300 milligrams per milliliter. NPP, pretty similar price, probably $30 to $35 per bottle, but it's dosed lower, typically around 100 milligrams per milliliter. Now, we get into the big dotty tren. Don't do tren, but if you're just curious as to how much it costs, for an enanthate ester, you're looking about $55 to $60 per bottle, maybe a little bit more. I typically see that dosed around 200 milligrams per milliliter. And Tren Ace, you can get a little cheaper, around $40 to $45 per bottle, because I typically see that dosed around 100 milligrams per milliliter. Masteron, same thing, very similar to Tren. You'll see about $55 to $60 per bottle for the enanthate ester, because it's dosed a little higher, about 200 milligrams per milliliter. Masteron propionate, dosed lower, about 100 milligrams per milliliter. You can expect to pay about $40 to $45 for a bottle of that. Primobolan, the expensive one. Everyone knows this shit is through the roof, and for good reason too, because it's a good one. But you can probably pay $100 per bottle for this. Depending on where you get it, what it's dosed at. Usually 100 milligrams per milliliter. I've seen 200 milligrams per milliliter. Beyond that, you can find it higher than that, but it's not likely. But yeah, around $100 a bottle for Primo. So that can get pretty expensive pretty fast because it's not dosed very high and people usually take a fair amount of it. You can tolerate it in some pretty damn high doses. So Primo is where your cycles are going to get very expensive. As far as oral steroids, general rule of thumb, you can expect to pay about $1 per pill, capsule, tablet, whatever it might be, depending on the dosage, of course. Anavar might be a little bit more, maybe around $60 for 50 pills, capsules, tablets. Depending on what the dose is, typically you'll see maybe 20 to 25 milligrams. Anadrol, very similar to Anavar as far as pricing. About $60 for 50 of them, give or take. But usually Anadrols are dosed higher. Winstrol, about $1 per pill. D-ball, maybe a little cheaper for the D-ball. $40 for maybe 50 of them. But beyond that, I mean, like I said, your PCT drugs, your ancillaries, they're going to get pretty expensive too. For example, Clomid, Nolvadex, expect to pay about $1 or $2 per pill, capsule, whatever. Depending on what it's dosed at, where you get it from, $1 to $2 per pill though is pretty standard. AIs are going to be even more. You can expect to pay a couple dollars per pill, but this is a pretty broad range as far as AIs, you know. So it depends where you're getting it from, who you're getting it from, what it's dosed. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but that is kind of what you can expect to see price-wise. So if you're planning to do a cycle at some point, those are some good numbers to try and calculate dosages. Now, of course, like I said, it depends where it's coming from. A lot of people like to tack on a little bit extra, depending on how many people it goes through, but it is what it is. This is a sketchy game. So, yeah, I hope that information is helpful. If you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, any of that shit, drop it below because we want to make some more videos about that stuff. We want to get to everybody's questions. We want answers. So that's all I got for you today. Ed out. Bye-bye.